Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel, whether you're watching this from Reddit, from the Stdupont subreddit, or from one of the Stdupont pages, welcome. Today we're going to be going over just the quick disassembly of a line 2 lighter, and here I have one of my Cadaver Maduro line 2 lighters. You can kind of see that it's a little bit off center there on the lid, and that's because the linchpin right here, which we're going to get into right away, is actually broken into two pieces, which is more likely trying to hang on for dear life. But don't worry about it, because that's specifically why this lighter was bought, because it was not purchased in the best of quality. But anyways, so what you're going to need in order to do this successfully is that number one, you are going to need a 2mm flathead screwdriver for the main bridge plate that we have inside of here. You will also need a pick tool in order to get your linchpin out. Hopefully yours is all in one piece instead of the two pieces that mine is currently in, because it has snapped quite hard, really. And another way to know if you have a broken linchpin is that when you attempt to open up the lighter, it will actually rub upon the bridge plate right here and be very tough to open. And that's because it doesn't actually keep it down towards the lighter enough, because it's split in the middle. But that's a topic for another time. So once you also have that, I would highly suggest, if you don't have some sort of pick tool, try and get a mechanical pencil of some sort. I use a Pentel 0.5mm P205 model. If you can't get both of the pieces out, what you can do is you can start to extend very slightly the actual non-lead portion of the pencil and be able to lengthen it, because sometimes getting a very tiny pick for this particular instance without it getting too thick for the hole is a little bit troubling. But anyways, first step is that you are going to press down on the lid. That way you are relieving the pressure from the linchpin here. And as of right now, because I know that this is going to slide right out, I'm going to have a catch right over here. Then with your pick tool or your mechanical pencil, you'll just press that out. As you just heard, that one came out. Make sure that you have constant pressure. I'm going to extend it. Going to be very careful to slightly press it so I don't break the writing portion of this. Did it come out? No, it didn't. That's okay. Nope, it looks like that broke. That's okay. We'll do a little bit of a jump cut, I'm sure. That broke. Great. Now that you have both of your linchpin pieces, or your one linchpin's piece, be very careful, and what you're going to do is just slightly open and then just walk the lid right on out like that and put it off to the side for later. Now you'll take your either your fingernail, or you can use this, just be careful not to scratch the surface. To get rid of the sliding retainer base plate on the top here, you will just press down right here. Mind you, it is spring loaded, and I would hold it at an upward angle, as there is flint under here if you were using it. Great, that will slide right off. Put that off to the side. Make sure to extract both your flint wheel and your flint, which will expose the main base plate here. This is where you will grab your 2mm flathead screwdriver. I start out with the small screw at the end. As a reminder, the smallest screw is on the right and the largest screw is on the left. Make sure to unscrew both of these. Mindful, if this is the first time that you have done this, or it is the first time ever that this lighter has been serviced, these two screws might be very, very tight, so take care when attempting to unscrew them so that you don't strip them or you scratch the surface. Then, being careful to lift up. As a reminder, This is just free floating in there, so make sure you don't just rip it off the lighter, otherwise it's going to go everywhere. Very carefully extract. You can put this down for a moment. Ooh, see, just like I told you. Make sure you don't lose this. This is very important. And then you can put your main base plate with both of the screws, or you can extract both of the screws and put them off to the side as well. This, when you take it off originally, is going to probably be very, very dirty, mainly because the gas enters in through this tiny little hole right here and is forced up through the main base plate here, or bridge plate, whatever you want to call it, and then pushed out through your type of emitter that you have right here. So it's going to be very, very dirty. It's not going to look pretty like this because I've already disassembled this so many times and cleaned it. Then finally, you can take your strike wheel, take it off, and put it again off to the side. Now, one more thing as well that you probably didn't see is that you also have this spring-loaded contraption right here. This is actually what keeps the pressure, the loaded pressure, I should say, on the lid so that when you actually do open it up, it flings open. And it can be removed as well. I highly suggest you do. So just make sure that you don't lose this in the actual scrub. Finally, this will open up the main area of the lighter for you to go in and clean. Now, what isn't currently present here, which I had already taken out, is going to be an O-ring seal. This one in particular. Now, it's very important that when you put this lighter back together that you have that O-ring seal right here on your lighter, as that is what's going to create a seal for that when the gas is pressured off by this spring-loaded mechanism right here, which is activated by the teeth right here on the lid, so that when it's closed, it presses down and closes the gas, and when it flicks up, it releases the pressure and allows the gas to flow through the charcoal filter up through the main base portion of the lighter to the bridge piece, out to the emitter, and then just waits for you to hit the strike wheel with your flint and then cause a flame reaction. Now, to depose some of the, I guess you could say, more well-known types of myths, a lot of people believe that a very decorative piece, which you can see is currently missing from the top of this lighter, as I said before, was purchased as a cadaver for the purposes of doing maintenance, and showing it to you is what causes the ping to be heard, when in fact, in actuality, that's farther from the truth. As you can see, the lid is actually what causes that beautiful ping noise, as if we take the main portion of the lighter, give it a little tap, no ping. But if we take the lid and we give it a just nice little tap, ooh, very nice. In fact, let's get it a better one right here. Ooh, very nice, super, super nice. So that is actually where the ping originates. And I guess it's, you can't necessarily get me to explain it to you as I'm terrible at it, but how it works is just super ingenious, and it's beautiful when you get that little, when you open it up. Now, I highly suggest that you don't take a pick tool and do it on the top of your lighter, but just be aware when you're actually opening up the lighter not to forcefully flick it open, as this mechanism that is run through the main bridge plate is what that's job is for. So any attempt to do that is going to put undue stress on your linge pin, which you saw over there with it being in two pieces and me having to fiddle around. Now, getting into the reassembly, which is going to be done in the precise order that it was taken out, but in reverse. So first thing is, excuse me, is that you are going to add your O-seal ring right back there. So grab your O-seal. I had failed to neglect that the O-seal was still attached to the lighter, but there it is. So make sure that you grab that, and being very careful not to rip it, put it back where it belongs. Stamp it down. Very good. Now, big one, because this gets a lot of people, take your strike wheel and put it back. I cannot tell you the amount of times I have put on the main bridge and that has not been added. Then what you can do is reassemble your main bridge. Make sure that you have this back in. And how it is that with it, I'm going to use my screwdriver, is that the position should be like that, so that the teeth are on the top and the bottom instead of by the sides. And then add very carefully your release lever back in here, like so. And where that's going to go is that this is going to go right here in this portion. And then just carefully mate the two together. Very nice. You'll have a little bit of springy resistance because that is on a spring mechanism. Then with your long screw, I always do that first. Do it last when disassembly, do it first when reassembling. And then your short screw, add those two in. Press down very gently. And then reassemble. What I do is I just twist until I feel it's starting to take it down, and then I'll switch to the short screw. Then I'll do that until it starts to bring it down, and then go back to the rear screw, and so on and so forth. That way that there is equal tension on both of them. As you see right here, everything is back as it should be, except for that which fell out. But that's okay, because I can kind of aim this a little bit better. Boop. That inside there. Splendid. And if you get it off, you can always just rotate it. Now, here's where the tricky bit goes, is that while holding like this, you are going to want to aim this little lever right in between there. And if you do this while holding the lighter at a slantward angle and introduce it very, very slowly, like so, get the teeth slightly under there. Once you have the lever pressed upon, you'll know if you have it or not because it will not go in. But if you can push it all the way in, then the lighter itself will close. Now, this is going to be under an immense pressure, so make sure that you always have it down. Then, while pressing down and forward so that you can relieve some of the pressure right here, you will add your linge pinch portions. Of course, these aren't going to stay in because they're broken, so don't worry. Hopefully yours won't do the same, because if it does, then you have a bad one. And then just add it back in on the other side. This should be one piece, as a reminder, not two. Mine is broken quite thoroughly. And you don't want to beat it in there. And there you go. Now, this is going to be very terrible looking, mainly because mine is broken. So as I told you before, oh, it's actually going to be nice to me right now. Look at that. No rubbing. But if it does rub right over here, it means that there's undue stress on the linge pin and it's probably split into two, and it's causing the spring to push the lid back and also create friction right here. Now that you have that back on, you can add both your flint wheel, your flint, and then finally, to bring everything to a close, add the top of your bridge plate and pull it forward. Obviously, you're going to take this notch right here, line it up with the release, and just pull forward. You'll hear a snap. Also, if this is upside down, it's not going to let you pull that over. So just flip it over if you're having problems. And then, ta-da! Your line 2 is now reassembled. Let's give it a little bing. Very nice. I'm actually very scared because this does want to come out. It's not as loud as it used to be because the hinge pin is kind of damaged, but that's okay. Hopefully this has been educational for you and an all-around solution to get it back up and running.